Okay, y'all. The next thing we're talking about right now is Jamestown. So Jamestown was started by, or was founded by a group of merchants. Now, when you think for a minute what this group of merchants is called, I told my kids to think of it like when dancers dance together or with the same like group, like they'll go to the same dance studio. They are called a dance link. 3, 2, 1. They are called a dance company. Okay, so a bunch of dancers get together, they're called a dance company. A bunch of merchants get together, they also form a company. Obviously not a dance company, or, you can have tap dancing merchants, which is always really, in my mind, a highlight of the world. But we have this group called the Virginia Company. So the Virginia Company releases something called the Virginia Charter. That says, okay, this group of people who want to go settle in Jamestown, you are allowed to go settle in Jamestown. So they come up with the Virginia Charter that says they are allowed to settle in Virginia. Now, what you think, real quick, what is the Virginia Company is something also known, there's a vocab word, they are known as a joint stock company. Joint stock company. Joint stock company just means that that there's a lot of different people that get together to make it happen. It's not just like one leader and then everyone just like mysteriously follows behind. This is a group of kind of like equals that come together. They will select a leader, but they all start out as equals. So the Virginia Company, which is a joint stock company, has the Virginia Charter, which says they can settle in the area of Virginia. Okay, real quick, what year does all this happen? And if you need to get in your Stallion swag stance to remember, it is 1607. Boom, Jamestown Colony. Okay, so 1607. Now, first they run into a whole lot of problems. I'm not going to get into those really specifically. But I will say, problems. They have disease, laziness, etc. Boom. Okay, disease, laziness, etc. Then a very good man comes along. He is going to help them out, and he is going to whip them into shape because he's like a great coach. His name is John Smith. Ew, this is an ugly purple. I don't like this purple. This doesn't ring. This is my pretty purple, the one with the black on the end. I think it just writes prettier. Okay, so John Smith. John Smith is very strict and tough on colonists. In fact, he tells them, he uses this, like, really, what becomes a very, like, famous phrase, says, "He who does not work, neither shall he eat." He who does not work, neither shall he eat. Basically, it just meant, if you're not going to put in the effort, if you're not going to help out the colony, if you're just going to sit around and be lazy and be selfish, you are not allowed to partake in the food that, as a colony, we are providing. So he starts that off. But eventually, he gets injured. And goes back to England. And guys, the whole Pocahontas thing, leave that out of John Smith entirely. John Smith, Pocahontas is not necessarily an important part of his story. Next, though, we have, basically the people almost starve to death after their fearless leader leaves. They almost starve to death because they don't know what to do with themselves, because it's kind of like when your coach is late to practice. Nobody works as well. Everyone kind of like lazes around and twiddles their thumbs. until a man by the name of John Rolfe. John Rolfe comes along. John Rolfe brings with him something very, very important. Think for a minute, what is so important that he brings along? It's going to be very, very important. Are you thinking? Do you remember? Are you thinking? Are you thinking? He brings with him tobacco. Oh, I'm having a brain fart right now. How do you spell tobacco? Yeah, okay. A-C-C-O. For some reason that does not look right. I feel like there should be two B's maybe. But no, it is right. Okay, tobacco. Tobacco saves the colony. And I'm writing in green because tobacco is green. Tobacco saves the colony. Okay, guys, so John Rolfe and tobacco are credited with saving the colony. Tobacco saves the colony. Tobacco saves the colony. In fact, it becomes such a big deal that they start this thing called a headright land grant. They have this thing called the headright. You should have read about it in your book when you did your hot date. Headright land grant. And basically this land grant is an attempt, in the land grant, it basically gives you really cheap land. It's a way for them to try to attract settlers, attracts or pulls settlers to Virginia. Because they're just trying to keep their business booming. They're trying to keep their business booming. So it attracts or pulls settlers. Alright. And lastly, because they're growing so much, there's so much that's happening in Jamestown, that they open up, that they have to have some sort of government. They have to have some sort of government, so they come up with what is known as the House of blank. Now you think about it for a second. The word means, and I'm going to draw another blank here, representatives. Okay, what does it mean? House of Burgesses. And Burgesses means representatives. Okay? So this is all we're going to do for Jamestown. Guys, look over your notes. I'm going to write here. Review notes. And hot date. And also, actually, and warm up. Okay. Thanks for watching.